Hello, Professor S, and to my group members. So, FBI and CIA is the question at hand uh, today, this evening. And to me, it kind of seems like a classic instrumental versus institutional approach here we got on our hands. And I'd like to elaborate on that point a little bit further. So, I see the FBI as that instrumental approach. So we learned in our chapter this week that that means rationality is implicit in formal organization structure. There's a capacity to reach a particular goal and value. It's kind of innate in that structure, and I think that point is particularly interesting because the motto of the FBI is "We always get our man." So that sounds like right there, like they're goal oriented and they're kind of on the nose. And then the chapter also mentions a logic of consequence, which states uh, a means and end rationality where one tries to predict the future, um, through their actions. So we learned that the FBI kind of takes like a more linear approach, and this just seems way more suited to the instrumental, where we learn about the institutional, and the chapter defines that more as they have their own values. It's a little more fluid, might be a little more loose, kind of less, maybe a little less rigid. Something that stood out to me in the chapter um, was they defined institutional as an independent influence on decision making and behavior. And I think that kind of relates to the case study when they're talking about how CIA agents, their work may be privy to, alcohol or like, maybe things you wouldn't consider to be savory or far out from the perspective of the FBI. So it kind of gives that room for individual creativity, if you want to call it, or individual approach. So I just see this is a clashing of two styles of this administration, and it's quite interesting to see it from the reading and to see it actually play out in our real public organizations as they are today. Now, I want to talk about the next part of the question, which is we want to think about what do you think the changes of the organizational structure can produce changes? I don't think there's like a route where these two can be merged. To be honest, I think they're always going to operate as independent to each other, and it'll be hard to kind of bring them all together, I guess, like after this kind of division. I think the only thing that really might stand the chance of changing structurally these organizations in such a way that they can be interoperable or just compatible or be on the same page is an external threat. Ultimately, I don't think the change is going to come from the inside to make these organizations closer. I think any severe external threat, the likes of which I can't even think of because 9/11 really didn't bring them too much closer. But that's the only reason I could see them coming together is if there was like a um, common threat that was really pressing that would jeopardize the operations of both organizations as well as the country. So thanks for listening. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to reading everyone else's responses and hearing back from you and hearing your feedback. So thanks, and have a good night, and I'll hear from you. All right, bye bye.